All good. So, welcome today to our latest Artpreneur Spotlight session. And today we're welcoming Amanda Tomasoa, who is
Yay!
a multidisciplinary artist from here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. So, welcome today, Amanda. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
joining.
Sarah. Thank you, Sarah, for having me.
Oh, it's excellent. Um, So Amanda has written a really interesting bio of herself, and I really do have to read a little bit of this because I think it says a lot about Amanda. Amanda is a very special artist because not only does she create art in the real world, she's also creating art in the virtual world, and that is so unique. So I just want to read you a little bit of how Amanda describes her art practice. It says, Amanda Tomasoa, driven by a mission to bring joy and bridge cultural divides, draws inspiration from encounters with poverty during her travels. In Second Life, Amanda's sci-fi wonderland, planet Tumbalia, am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
Tumbalia inspired a book and merchandise, encouraging others to reconnect with their inner child. That's so cool. There is a lot to unpack in there. So I think if we could just pull it apart, then
Mhm.
that would be really great. And to start with, you talk about being driven by a mission. Now, I
Mhm.
love that. I'm very passionate about having a life's mission, life's
Mm.
purpose. And excuse me, you say that you're driven by a mission to bring joy and bridge cultural divides.
Mhm.
Now, I can certainly see by your artwork, it has a lot of joy, a lot of whimsy and color and life to it. And I'd be really interested to know how you marry up your sense of personal mission with your art.
Okay. Um, I was 3 when I got a beating I could not forget. Then 4 when I overheard my parents wishing I was born a boy, when we had our third girl arrive into the family. It made me think I was a mistake and that unless I acted like a boy or looked like a boy, I was ugly and unwanted. So I grew up with zero confidence and full of fear of rejection and hated any attention on me when I was wearing a dress or a skirt. Books were my best friend because they didn't judge me. I was the one reading and judging if I so want. Um, Thankfully, at the age of 17, I was at a church camp and I discovered that I was made with thoughtful care and love by God. While I was in my mother's womb, I cried with joy that day, knowing that I was meant to be a girl after all. And the freedom inside of me was like night and day. The chains in my heart were set free, and I soared like, on wings of an eagle. That's why I painted my freedom from within painting, which shows a girl sitting on a set of books, looking at birds that are flying outside a bird cage. I love the look of bird cages, but never with the birds inside. I just like the bird cages, and the birds flying means freedom, and that's how I feel. And then you will find a rose in that painting as well because it portrays how I used to love roses, but I had to hide that and suppress that because I thought, no, I have to act like a boy. And when it comes to the culture thing, I remember I felt very old in Indonesia. I was in my 30s, early 30s, but I was in the shadow of my singer husband, Ronnie, and I was a new mother. And everywhere we went, I was known as Mrs. Ronnie Tomasoa or Travis's mom. And felt like I lost my identity. So for many years, I felt I have to wear matronly thing, and I felt kind of dowdy because they didn't have my size in the style that I want. And then one day because of a lot of chaotic political stuff, we came to New Zealand in 1999. And one day in the year 2000, I met this 82-year-old Kiwi woman. She had a lot of life. She put on makeup, she had earrings, and when her grandchildren kicked the ball near her, she kicked it back. And I was like, here I am at age 30 something feeling like a nana, and there she is, still having all the joy and childlike love. And I was thinking, okay, that's it. I'm gonna break free from this mold I've put myself in. So since then, I've been free. And people say that my son, who's 32 now, he said, Mama, you're like the girl and I'm the dad. So, but as long as I'm not too embarrassing, it's good to just be the child within. And having gone through those first 30 something years, I started when I was in my early 30s, and knowing how painful it is, I thought, wow, I want to encourage as many as possible grown-ups to be in touch with the big kid inside, and to know that don't let the age number drag you down. If you just be you, the best that you can be, till whatever age.
Oh, that is fantastic. And like I said, the joy just comes out in your artwork. I mean, it's just wonderful, isn't it? And I can see now that you've said that. I can see that freedom that is
Mhm.
shown in your art. That's so lovely. And I'm so pleased for you that you've been able to do that, and that you did it in New Zealand, which was lovely.
Yeah.
Did you find, so it sounds like maybe a cultural thing that there was more of a sense of freedom in New Zealand?
Oh yeah. Oh yes, that's where I was leading with that story. Yeah, so the cultural thing, um, here people know me as Amanda, no more Mrs. this and that. I'm able to show people I'm here, no longer behind anybody, but just being me. And I love it being in New Zealand. I feel free. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, you also
Mhm,
mentioned in that little bio that I read at the beginning
mhm,
that you mentioned that you draw inspiration from encounters with poverty
mhm,
during your travels. Do you want to
yep.
just elaborate on that a little bit and how that presents itself in
Mhm.
your artwork or inspires your artwork?
I lived on a ship called the MV Doulos, which was built 2 years after the Titanic, but by God's grace, it survived for many decades more. And there were like a few hundred of us from 40 nations. And we traveled to Southeast Asia and the Pacific. And it was my first time to New Zealand through the MV Doulos. And in some countries, there were a lot of poverty, and I come from a very sheltered background. I never knew to be hungry, to be in want, to be afraid of where my money is coming from. And then when I saw how poor some of them were, and they lived in makeshift huts without toilets, without running water. And then in the Philippines, I saw a bunch of children. While we were gonna go, we were waving to them, and then I saw this boy busy collecting Coca-Cola into one bottle, and then he drank from there. I said, "Oh no, those are leftover from I don't know how long ago." And I know that there were people who lived in a pile of rubbish as well. And then I said, God, I will never want to forget this, because now that I know, that there are such poverty, that people live in such dire situation, I never want to forget them. So I was in my 20s, early 20s, and I said, God, please use my life, use my talent to maybe either help others to know, and I want to lead by example, that I want to gift. Because some people say, oh, wait till I'm a millionaire before I help. I say, you don't have to wait till you're a millionaire to do anything, because even now, 30 New Zealand dollars, which we can easily spend even on ourselves when we go out for a meal, to someone else in another country, that is their whole month's supply. And so I try to tell people, just put aside 30. And if you can do more, another 30 and another 30. And so that's part of my life. And I'm so grateful that I got to experience that, and to have my whole sheltered life, broken apart. So I know. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's lovely, and it's oh, sorry, it was not lovely to have that kind of experience, but I think it's so vital that everyone does have that kind of experience, and
Mm,
especially living and growing up in a country like New Zealand, we're far
Mhm.
away from all of that, and
Mm.
it's vital for people to travel. And I think, it expands our creative
Mm.
horizons as
Definitely.
well, gets us
Yeah.
thinking in different ways,
Mhm.
so that's really lovely. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool. So as artists, we're always looking for different ways to build an audience, and I
Mhm.
think that certainly in my experience, it's been one of the most challenging parts of building an art practice, because
Mm.
no matter how good you are at your art, unless you can build an audience or a
Mm.
fan base, it's really it's challenging
Mhm.
to expand your art
Mhm.
practice. Now, you have done this in a very unusual way. So you've got an involvement with a platform called Second Life. Now,
Mhm.
this was I had never heard about Second Life before meeting Amanda, and I'm sure that a lot of people listening will also go, "What is Second Life?" Um,
What is it?
what is it? So, could you give us an idea of what Second Life is as a platform and how you've been able to tap into that as an artist to get
Mhm.
your artwork out there?
Yeah, sure, with pleasure. Second Life is like what they call metaverse nowadays, but it's way better than whatever Zuckerberg or whatever his name is trying to do. And it's been around for 20 years. Um, it's very unusual. It's truly a second life in the sense that in there you can own homes, you can go shopping, you can go dancing. And I actually first heard of it on the news in New Zealand. I was minding my own business, and when one of the newscasters say something about Second Life and how people made millions of dollars, I was like, oh, and then I logged into it. But because I didn't understand it, and I was looking at my avatar and I was trying to change it to look like the real me. But the more I changed, the more horrible she looked, and her eyebrows became like two huge caterpillar. And I said, no, 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 I'm too vain. I can't stand it. So I quit. And then 2 years later, someone told me that, oh, have you heard of Second Life? I said, yes, I have. He said that you, as an artist, should look into Second Life because it's really amazing. There's a lot of artists inside. So I thought, okay, but I couldn't remember the password from my first avatar. And then I created one. And this time, thankfully, I met with a group of really nice ladies who taught me how to look better. And it's a whole different set of skills. And one day I was at this place and I was talking to this Australian couple and I said, oh, I'm an artist, blah, blah, blah. And they said, oh, can you show us your website? I said, sure. And when they saw it, they said, oh my goodness, we must have you in our gallery. You blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, okay then. So I thought, okay, I want a name that is close to my actual name as I could. Back then, you couldn't choose your own family name. So the closest was Tamatsui. And I chose Amanda T, which is Thomas. So Amanda T Tamatsui. And then once I created this avatar just for that platform, they started showing me what I can do, and they taught me how to put my art on a print. Well, something called a print, which is stretched to look like a canvas. And from there, I've just met with the right people and I started selling my artwork virtually for like back then it was like $4 or $5 US, and people would buy to put it into their virtual house. And I was thinking, wow, this is pretty cool. Without doing much and having fun, I'm making money on the site. And that was my life back then. And there's a lot more that I know now. I took from 2015 to April 2021, I actually stopped being in Second Life. But then I started going back and people started, oh, Amanda, you're back. And I started exhibiting more and more. And there's so much better stuff now. And I would love to help artists learn how to put their art into Second Life because it's amazing. And people will buy your art and they'll live with it virtually for a while. And some of them, I really love your art. Has this been sold? Or they'll say, can I buy it? Or how much do you charge? And things like that. And that's how I start selling because
That's
Second Life, yeah.
that's amazing, Amanda. So are they what are they buying? Are they buying a virtual piece of art, or are they actually buying your original art?
Both. So if they're in Second Life and the art exhibition, I sell them for like, I used to sell them for 1,200 lindens, which used to be about 4 or 5 US dollars. And they would buy it and put it into their little virtual home. You have to be inward to understand what nonsense I'm talking about. So they have the home and they can put it onto the walls. And then some of them started buying a lot of art. In fact, I have this friend who's such an art patron that he has a humongous, I think more than 20 something story building just filled with art. And he used to support a lot of his artists, and we're best of friends now. And so he is actually someone who has bought my art virtually and put it into his building. And then one day say, Amanda, I really, really would like to buy a piece of original art. So I said that, oh, you know what? I happen to have 3 pieces of art that's unsold in London, and he lives in London. So I said, would you like to go have a look? And so he did, and he told me which one they wanted, and then I sold it to him. And now he's very happy to be able to say, I am Amanda's art patron in Second Life and in real life. And I've sold a few art pieces, my original stuff, through people getting to know me because they get to know me. And once they know my story and once they know my art, if they have a connection, they start buying or they buy my cushion covers or my scarves. Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible. I think it's just fascinating. And what it says to me too is there's just so many ways, so many different channels and distribution
Mm,
methods that artists can use to just get their art out there.
mhm,
And I think we can go on and talking about other avenues that you've used, but just
mhm,
before we go off Second Life,
mhm.
what would you say are some of like the pros and cons of using Second Life as an art sales channel or as a channel to build your
Mhm.
audience? What are some of the
Yeah. The pros is
mm,
definitely, I mean, we live in New Zealand, and when you go into Second Life and if you meet the right people, like if you meet me with all my connection with different galleries and all that, which happened after being on Second Life for a long time, then you will get a chance to open door to show your art to people all over the world, and they don't judge you by your color. They don't. Some people don't even know how we look like. How we look like. They know how I look like because I'm very open, and so they will look at your art, and if they love it, they'll buy it. And if you really, really love it and they can afford it, they'll say, "Can I buy it in real life?" I like that because being Asian, there has been certain times in real life that I felt like there was some racism or stuff like that. And I was thinking, oh, I love that in Second Life. They don't care what you look like. They just love your art. They want it. And the pros also is that you really meet with very interesting people. I've met with lawyers, I've met with real art curators, real artists, singers, you name it, we've got it. And I'm very privileged in the sense that because I am so open about who I am, they know that I'm not someone hiding behind some mysterious avatar. So they start sharing their real life stuff with me, and I'm very protective of them. I don't blab it up, and uh, and that's the pro of you just meeting fantastic people. And never judge a book or an avatar by its cover because I met this guy once. He was really fat. And it's very rare in Second Life because everyone wants to look gorgeous. But I started talking to him and he said, wow, you're the only person who's talked to me. And I've been here for 2 hours. And you're the one who cared to talk. And we became friends. And I was thinking, wow, we can't really judge. And people who look gorgeous may be and old and wrinkly. You can't, yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with old and wrinkly. And then the cons is they are con artists, they are fake people, they are sleazy people, and they are liars. I'm very happy and very blessed that seem to have met really good people. And people tell me that, oh, Second Life is terrible. I would be ashamed to be known to be in Second Life. I say, oh, why? There's so much good in Second Life, so many positive things in Second Life. And if you met the right kind of people, you'll be introduced to the right kind of people. We can't protect you 100%, but when you have this one wonderful core group, and if you scared or something happen, you can share with us and we will be like, oh, we can guide you or we can protect you. Well, as best as we can virtually. And so the pros and cons, I think the pros for me outweigh the cons. Yeah.
I think anything in life has pros and
Mm,
cons, doesn't it? And you've got to
yeah,
just
true.
work out whatever is going to work best for you, you know.
Mm,
So if someone was interested in getting started, like an artist was
mm,
interested in getting started on Second Life,
mhm.
or at least looking into it, what
Yep.
would you say would be the best way to start?
Go to secondlife.com. It's just one word, secondlife.com, or get in touch with me. So if you go to secondlife.com and you want to join, it'll ask you to choose an avatar, whether you are a man, a woman, or what color skin, you can choose that for a basic avatar. And then from there, when you join, you have to download the Second Life viewer. We normally use Firestorm. Some people use the official Second Life viewer, and it's actually not that easy. So we all get gravitate to something called Firestorm. Oh, let me get a drink of water. And uh, once you log in, you will be sent to an orientation hub. It's actually good if you take some time to learn how to do this, how to walk, how to pick things up, how to change your clothing, a wealth of information, and you can take your time. Don't rush it. If you have to log in, log out again for another time, do it. It's really worth it. Or you can do it like how it happened to me in the second time that I joined Second Life. Meet the right people who's willing to share, where to get hair, where to get eyeballs. There's a whole lot of economy. There are seriously people making 800,000 US a month selling those kind of things. So if you're good with blender, rigging, oh, you can make a lot of money. So, and then once you're in Second Life, learn the basic and then hook up with me. And then I would be happy to take a group of people in Second Life and teach them by following my direction, doing one by one, and I'll show you how to do this and then how to upload your art and how to put it onto the right thing. Because
Wow.
if you do it the right way, you will be presenting your art in a good way. I've been to some art exhibition and I'm like, oh, there's no care gone into that, you know. So yeah, I kind of want more Kiwis to join me in Second Life. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you.
Mhm.
That's a very generous thing to offer as well. We'll put your contact details
Mhm.
into this video as well so people can see. Oh, that's great. Now, another avenue that you have as an
Mm,
artist. So when we tend to start out in our art practice, we're thinking about selling
mm,
original art, and it's quite there's a lot of feels like there's a lot of pressure to figure out the ways of just
mm,
selling these originals, but we know
mm,
that there are so many other different revenue streams that we can explore with
mm.
our art.
Yep.
Now, you have gone down a couple, well, probably a few different revenue streams and tried different things. Now, I
Mm,
know you've got so for example, your little characters from Second Life
mhm.
have become animations. So you've got
Oh yeah.
that one. You've
Mm,
got you've turned your artwork into merchandise, like your
mhm,
scarves, and I've seen those are beautiful. And also a book. Now,
mhm,
can you tell us about all the different sort of ways that you have experimented with, which ones might have worked
mm.
better for you than others, and whether you've got any tips there for us?
Okay, sure. Um, the book is still underway. My scarves and clothing or cushion took me a long while to find the right manufacturer because I'm very anti sweatshop. I've had people from China, from India say, "Oh, come," and Pakistan, "Come, I can help you. I can give you good prices." I say that, well, it's not the good prices that I'm care about, but can you show me? Can you film? Or when I had money, can I come and visit to see how your workers are being treated? And if they are kind of wishy-washy, then no, it might be. not the right thing. So it took me ages, and I finally found some Indonesians. And then I had this guy who was based in Bali. He actually flew to that guy's place, and he took a motorbike to look and said, "Oh, it looks good." And their workers seems to be looked after. So from there, I started uh, doing small batches for my scarves and for other things, and I just sold it through. Well, actually, we were planning to have a shop, a gallery in Bali, but that didn't happen. And when COVID happened, I was like, "Thank you, God, for protecting me," you know. Um, so there's a shop, a gift shop in Pukekohe. She's just gotten ill, and she may have to close it, but she's been selling my scarves, my cushion, and it's just been good. And she takes about 50%, but it's okay because she's there 6 days a week. Hail, rain, shine, she's there. And she has people who trust her and know that she will only take in artists that who do good stuff. That's one way. And another way that I've done, and but I've also flopped at it, is selling my art on jigsaw puzzle in Amazon. Back then it was like, oh, it's so easy. People are making lots of money. And I said, oh, so I paid a few $1,000s to learn how to sell in Amazon. And to find the right products was very hard. But back then it was locked down. And I thought, oh, my iron jigsaw puzzle would be fantastic. But it took Amazon 4 or 5 months before they say yes to me. And then by the time I got the yes, I did the jigsaw. And by the time it got shipped to America, there were like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 new competitors. And I was very disappointed to find that I needed tens of thousands US dollars to fight with the big boys. So that route was not very successful. But I got 5-star reviews for my things, and they really loved it. I was like, oh, I had all these grand plans of having my art on my brand of jigsaw puzzle, and it might still happen someday if God so allow it. So that's another way. If you're good with tech keywords, you can still sell stuff on Amazon. And I can tell you where to learn for free. You don't have to pay 5,000 like what I did. And then you can know people have got Society 6. That's based in the UK, so the price is a bit high, but they are a good company. And you might have heard of Redbubble, Cafe Press, and all that. I've tried it all. Didn't quite work for me. Society 6 is my latest. Etsy is supposed to be good for us artists, but in my case, I had spam and scams so often, 10 per day. I got tired. So I just closed my shop down. Yeah.
I've heard
Uh,
that the
mm,
likes of Society 6 and
mm,
Redbubble and
mm,
those types of sites
mhm,
there's just so many people selling
mm,
on those sites that, often artists feel like they're not getting seen. Have
mm.
you experienced that yourself?
Yes, so far, when I sold things on Society 6, it's people, friends from Second Life. So they go and they buy it. But I haven't been found just by thinking that people will look for me. I'll say every time I type my name, Ali Tomahawk, which is my character, went to a stranger's profile, thinking, hey, that's not even the same name. So I don't know what's happening. But if I give them those who know me, I give them the link, they will find me. But otherwise, it's very hard unless you really are good with keyword. Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's one of those again, pros and cons of each
Yeah.
platform, isn't it? And we've
Yeah.
got to really figure out. I always say it's like, what's your end game?
Mm,
What's your goal?
mm,
What does success look like for you? And then, what platform is actually going to work the best for you? And
mm.
what works really well for you may not work well for somebody
Yeah.
else. And sometimes
Hmm.
you've just got to try.
Yep.
Try and fail
Yeah.
sometimes, but this is why we have these kind of conversations, is
Hmm.
to try and help people not fail as many
Yeah.
times as we did.
Hmm. Yeah.
But no, oh, that's really interesting. And so for those people that are starting out in the early stages of
Hmm.
their art practice journey, what kind of advice would you give to them? Something that you wish you had known when you first started.
Okay. Well, thankfully, without knowing it, I kind of chose that path. Maybe I was very confident. If you're planning to sell your art, start straight away with good quality paint. Nothing worse like if you're using a student grade and it turns out wonderful. Someone wants to buy it and you're like, oh, do I really dare to sell it to them? You know, but because I started going in with good, well, it's not like the top of the line, but good quality art that you believe will last for 100 years, and always spray a protective layer. Then if the miracle happen, and people want to buy our art, then you can sell it with a good faith that yes, I'm providing you with something good. And another thing is always I would say always spray protective layer, because if people don't know, they don't know. And if say this guy buys your piece of art and one day he's drinking coffee and something happened, it'll be a really big no-no. So yeah, protect your art and do all the fixings at the back properly. If you don't know how to do it, get someone who really knows how to do it. And what else? If I'm not good at this, but some people are very good with organization, have the name, have the this and that, so that they know what have sold. And I'm not good at that, but it would be a good thing for you to do if you can.
I love it. It's like don't do what I'm doing. Do something
Yeah,
completely different.
exactly.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good advice too. So where to now from for Amanda Tomasoa? What's
Hmm.
this next year
Oh, wait,
going to look like for you?
okay, let me get off. Sorry, my insulin alarm. Well, I'm very hopeful, and I'm so glad I joined Toy Portal. Toy Portal has given me information about where to get funding and how to apply for funding, and getting me in touch with beautiful people like you and Dina, and our cohort is like, wow, now we're no longer alone. We can share information and we can learn together. And it's thanks to another person in our cohort, Ira. She told me about Image Vault, and from there I sent them my application. I mean, a few of my art. And to my surprise, one of the co-owners actually bought my art, two of my art, a decade ago. And she said, Amanda, I think I bought you two of your art pieces and they're still in my living room. And then I remember, I do know that name. And then she told me what she wants, and we signed a contract. So I'm so excited. That's been my dream come true. I've always told people, please market it for me. It's hard for me as an artist to market myself. But if you market, I'll give you 30%, but please be my mouth. But so far, no one really. Uh, um, and another thing is, I'm very excited for March 18 to happen, because there's the funding round from Creative New Zealand. And like, now that I know, thanks to Toy Portal, I have more hope. I mean, I've been very successful in Second Life, being awarded this, awarded that, applying and getting it, but in real life, it's a bit harder. And this time, I'm hoping more Kiwis will know me. It is good to be known in, say, I don't know, 30 other nations, but in your own home, if you want to show and you can't show, it's like, oh, it's so frustrating.
It's quite
So,
funny, Amanda,
mhm,
that sometimes artists have the complete
mhm.
opposite problem to what you have.
Oh,
They get known locally, but they
mm,
don't. Then they want to get known internationally. You've got this amazing life in the virtual world, and now you're wanting to sort of get more known in the real life in
yeah.
the local scene. So,
Mhm,
look, just wish you all the best with that, because again, exploring those funding options is
mm,
another way, another revenue stream that artists can explore.
mhm.
And so well done on going down that path as well. So yeah, but look, thank you so much for joining me today there, Amanda. It's been
Thank you.
absolutely wonderful to talk about your journey. It's so interesting and so unique. And thank you again very much for that generous offer of sort of helping people who are truly interested and motivated to explore that second life
Mhm.
world. So we will put your contact details out there. But
Yay.
yes, yay. So
Thank
thank
you
you
for
so
having me.
much. All the best for the year ahead. All the best for your funding rounds. And
Yeah.
yay, we look forward to seeing more of your artwork out there.
Thank you, Sarah.
Awesome. See you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.